Welcome to the Everyday Creative Podcast. We are two creatives that will discuss our own creative journeys, mental health, and a little bit of everything in between. Oh yeah, we're married too. Thanks for joining us.
Welcome back to the Everyday Creative Podcast. I'm Camaryn.
And I'm Bryce.
We're on episode
9.
And we are back in studio.
Yeah, we are.
Feels official.
Yeah, it feels like it's been forever, even though it's just been
a
week.
Yeah. It's been a little bit since we recorded, though.
Yeah.
But
and if we sound monotone or mundane, we're both kind of tired.
Yeah.
And hungry.
Yeah.
So we'll see how this goes.
We say that every week, though.
I know.
And then it goes fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're been busy.
Yeah, very busy. So what kind of creative were you this week? Or just how are you? How are you doing?
You know what? I'm doing all right.
Yeah.
It's been a little bit of a hard week.
Mm-hmm.
There's been like really good highs and really not
The
so
highs have
great.
been really high, but the lows have been really low.
But like I see, here's the struggle when you ask me that question. What kind of creative were you this week?
Yeah.
I have a lot of ideas, but we've talked about this before. I'm an idea person, but I don't know how to execute. So I feel like this week was a great week for ideas, but it's also kind of discouraging when you can't execute those ideas.
That is very discouraging.
That's where I'm at. I know I probably don't give myself enough credit and I could execute my ideas, but it can be intimidating for me to do that. But then it's also kind of discouraging because it's like, I don't think I'm able to execute my ideas. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's been a rough week mentally. So
yeah, it's been a ride.
That plays a role in where I'm at creatively.
Totally.
So, what about you?
I am kind of the flip side of you. So you said that like you had all these ideas, but like you feel like you can't execute. I feel like now that I'm working like a job where I have assignments and a boss and all of that, I'm only doing execution and I don't necessarily have all the time in the world for my own ideas.
Yeah.
Which is fine with this in this season of life right now for me. I kind of like it. I can just kind of turn that part of my brain off a little bit and then just purely execute. But it's been a good week. I've been busy. We were away last weekend and I'm still honestly, I feel like I'm 100 years old. I'm still recovering from not even lack of sleep, just being away.
Being so busy. Like we were just gone for like the weekend. So we tried to fit in a lot of stuff in a short amount of time. And sometimes that and then when you come back and you like go right back into the normal routine, it can be kind of.
Yeah.
Oof.
But like, I think you said on episode 7, I got a new film camera. And I've been feeling super inspired by that. Just the way that I view the world and creating. So I shot 5 rolls through it so far in like a week and sent them off to Nice Film Club. Plug.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
it'll be exciting to get those
Yeah,
back.
I'm excited. Hopefully they come back.
Like that
just
they
period.
were good. Like
that the camera isn't
okay.
broken or something. So
yeah.
Yeah.
But I think kind of going to your point about where you're at creatively, I think sometimes just executing like a lot of stuff can kind of give like a boost to creatives because it's like you feel accomplished, you feel like you're capable, and it kind of boosts your confidence.
I feel like sometimes when I'm just doing the opposite of executing, just the creating part, I'm not seeing any of it to fruition.
Yeah.
So I don't feel accomplished. With this, I feel with just executing, I feel like, well, I'm accomplishing a lot.
Yeah. So it's good to do both.
It's good to do both, and there's seasons for both.
Yeah.
I really like when I can do all of it.
Come up with the idea and execute it.
But right now, that's just not what's up, and that's fine.
Yeah. Well, that's where we are. Let us know. Drop a comment or whatever. What kind of creative you were this week?
I think it's funny. Every week we're like, drop a comment.
And no one comments.
And, well, there was one comment. Your mom commented once.
She did.
And then there was a scammer that...
I saw that.
Yeah.
I swear.
I deleted that comment.
That's good. I got a little freaked
sketchy.
out by all of that. Well, when there's like a kissy face emoji next to it, it's not good.
Yeah, I was like, oh, we don't need that up on the YouTubes.
Yeah.
Some kid clicks on that by accident and they're...
But see,
anyway,
do you feel like that happens? I do have a genuine question, which maybe is not relevant to this podcast, but I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
Do you feel like those scammers and stuff, for people who have, like, let's just say, for example, the people with like the blue check marks, like they have a certain amount of followers, they're famous. Do they get those scammers too?
Oh, go on any... some celebrities, they limit their comments.
Yeah.
So if it does come across like that, it gets deleted automatically.
Okay.
But if you go to just some business pages or celebrities that don't have the filtering on, 90% of the comments are just those scams. Type of comments.
It's just interesting because like I've done things where like I've had Instagrams or whatever where they were like public and you just get an overload of scammers.
Yeah.
Or you get people who follow you that if you look at their profile picture, it's like, okay, you're obviously into something else, Yeah. And that's why my Instagram is private, because then I can like curate who
can see your stuff.
Who can see my stuff. Yeah. And also like I get these follower requests from like complete strange men. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know you. It's weird that you're requesting to follow me because there's no connection here. Yeah. Like there's no, I don't know. We don't have mutual friends here. And it's like, it's just iffy. And like, but if I was public, like anybody could follow. Exactly. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know how, I understand that there's like a benefit sometimes to having like a public page, but it can be hard to. It can. Because you have to like do maintenance.
Yeah.
So
you have to clean it up every now and again.
Yeah. It's a lot to keep track of.
Yeah. Somebody's car alarm's going.
Yeah. I don't think it's ours.
It's not. There, it stopped. This is riveting podcasting.
Whoa. Okay. Well, the elephant in the room here is that instead of our cute little plant that we normally have here, we have something else here, Bryce.
We do. My wonderful wife surprised me with this glorious record today. So not to spoil what we're going to be talking about today, but I mean, it's in the title, so you saw when you clicked on it, and also mother.
Oh, please don't.
Okay.
Try your intro again, okay?
As you can see, we will be talking about the brand new album from Taylor Swift, The Tortured Poets Department.
It's relevant.
It's very relevant. But before we talk about it, do you want to do the random question generator thing?
Yep. I forgot about that part.
I knew you did.
I didn't have my notes up, so I forgot about it. Okay, why don't you ask?
Okay. Hey Siri, give me a number between 1 and 50. 8.
This might be very relevant to this conversation. Okay, cool.
I was really hoping that there was a relevant question.
Who do you think will be playing on the oldies radio in 30 years?
So
30 years isn't actually that
So
much
30
time,
years from now is what?
57? Yes.
2057.
No, not 57. Where'd you get the 7 from? 30 years.
I don't know where I got the 7 from.
But I didn't catch it the first time.
I think I added some numbers.
2054.
2054.
Correct?
Yes, I'll be 54 years old.
Yeah.
I'll be old. And you'll be younger than me.
I will, but I still will be in my 50s,
yes,
so I
will.
can't hold it over.
So 2054. I don't know where I got that 7 from. Weird.
You know, I say 30 years isn't a lot, but right now,
I think somehow I combined the 30, the 3, and the 24. And this got 7. Anyway, continue.
But when I read that question, I was like, 30 years doesn't seem like that much of time. But when we think about it, because we've been watching the documentaries on
the decades,
and like one of the episodes is always music, and we've done we're kind of doing it backwards, but
we started with the 2010s
because we were like, oh, this would be cool, and then we were like, oh, we really like these docs, so now we're going backwards. But we've done the 2010s, the 2000s, and now we're in the 90s. And if you look at them, that's 20 years.
Yeah, so
if you look at how much music has changed over that time, and 30 years would be like the 80s, which is oldies now, right?
Yeah.
So
is 80s oldies now?
I feel like there's an 80s channel. Like our parents
So there's an 80s
grew
channel.
up in the 80s.
But I feel like the oldies channel still plays.
I don't know. When's the last time you listened to the oldies channel?
Not in a long time. So I could be very wrong.
Yeah.
Probably.
But
who will be playing on the radio in 30 years? If the radio still exists.
And can you have an artist who's playing on current and their old songs are playing on the oldies?
I would say so. Yeah. Like, for instance...
Like, Stevie Nicks is still doing music.
Yes.
But she also has older songs
Yes.
that are kind of classics.
I would say that, keeping with the theme, Taylor Swift will be playing on the current radio.
Our song is a slim screen door sneaking out. That song's going to be on the oldies.
I don't know about that one. But
I hope so.
But I do think that... So this song is about, like, what artist is going to transcend time, kind of.
The question.
Yeah.
English is really good.
English is not great.
English is hard.
It is hard.
Even for people who speak English
who
as
graduated
a
with
first
an English degree.
Yes, even for those.
But I think Taylor Swift will be one of them.
Yeah.
I think John Mayer.
Yes, but maybe not like he's not like super popular.
No, but I feel like Your Body is a Wonderland, even though that's his worst song, will still be playing on the oldie. It will be on the oldies channel.
Yeah.
Music is so different now than it was even a couple years ago, where like the oldies was a whole genre.
Yeah.
And like, I don't feel like it's going to translate.
Well, because now you think about technology, you think about music is kind of in one place. And so there's not, is anybody even going to be listening to the radio in 30 years is the other question. But like, it's all gonna, I don't know. It's hard to say.
What will music be in 30 years?
Yeah. And we're like thinking kind of like pop, but then there's like other genres who have famous bands and singers in that will also be popular. Like, basically, the question also comes down to what artists are we going to be still playing in 30 years? Like,
because I feel like the oldies channel, last time I listened to it, was just like 50s, 60s music. Like, there was like the Beach Boys and the Beatles and
yeah, but
Elvis.
That was like 10 years ago.
I know.
So does it always stay the 60s and 70s, or does it like...
But I feel like that is like the oldies genre.
And I think that's true because the 60s and 70s really influenced the 80s, which like that's when music really started. I mean, it started before that, but like a lot of...
So I don't know if the quote unquote oldies will translate, but it's like what will be playing. I
think we're overthinking this question.
We are. I think the question is more which artists will still be relevant in 30 years.
And to that we answer, because she's a pop culture phenomenon, T-Swizzle.
Taylor Allison Swift.
The fact that you know her middle name. Like, what is wrong with you?
I don't know.
You just going a step too far with this fanboy fandom thing you got going on. Okay.
Yes.
We're going to talk about
Swift's the Tortured Poets Department.
And if you couldn't tell, Bryce really enjoys listening to Taylor Swift. So tell me a little bit about your relationship with Taylor Swift.
My relationship with Taylor, it started when I was a child. So I grew up with her music always. So whenever her first album came out, I wasn't like...
You didn't love her first
album. I still don't love her first album. And if she doesn't re-release it, I won't be upset. Hot take, I guess. But so that came out. I listened to it. There's a couple songs. Like, Tim McGraw is a classic. You can't get around it. But then Fearless And Speak Now, I grew more appreciative of her songwriting ability, and I liked the sound. Also, I don't know, I just liked it. If not Fearless as much, I liked Speak Now a lot, especially the back half of that in the deluxe edition where it has like I like the deluxe edition of Speak Now. But then moving into Red is where I really became a mega fan because All Too Well, one of, if not her best song ever, is on that record. And it's just hit after hit. A couple of them don't age as well on Red. Like, I don't think I Knew You Were Trouble ages that well.
Because it was very pop.
Musically.
20 whatever.
Yes, not lyrically, but musically. Like, I love Sabrina Carpenter's cover of it because it feels like the 2023, 2024 version of that. So I really loved Red. And then that's where I really, really picked up my fandom. And then 1989 came out. And that's when I was hooked. I was in. I bought the CD the day it came out. So I really enjoyed 1989. Clean is an underrated song.
It is so good.
It is perfect. And on the re-release, it's beautiful. And then after 1989, there was Reputation. And I didn't really love it when it came out.
So 1989 was like, you were like
1989
fan.
was the pinnacle.
So Red was like, okay, I like where she's going.
Yes.
1989, you were like, Taylor, yes.
Because to be completely transparent, I didn't love the country Taylor.
Right.
I like the 1989 pop 80s synth Taylor. So Red was great, and I go back to that a lot to listen to. But then 1989 came, I was like, this is what Taylor Swift is now, and I love it. Then Reputation came out, and I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. It's definitely grown on me over the years, and I've come to appreciate it more, and I really like it. But I did not initially love it, so I took a little bit of like a dip, a break in my fandom. And then Lover came out. And the first single was Me. Horrible song.
Can I just do a little
a
public
pause.
Service announcement?
Yeah.
We know that the Swiftie fan base can be a lot sometimes.
Yeah, so please don't come at us.
We are just two people sharing our thoughts that are equally as valid as yours.
Yes.
So, this is not us trashing on Taylor Swift because we both like Taylor Swift. This is us critically analyzing.
Yes.
Because that's important to do whenever you're watching or listening to anything that is being put out in this world.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Because the fan bases, we should have a podcast episode about like fandom and fan bases because they're like really toxic. Not just Swifties, but like the Star Wars fan base, very, very toxic.
Wonderful.
I know, they're so toxic.
Good to know for
yes. And I am a part. Like I'm part of the problem of fandom and all of that.
I'm not.
No. But yeah. So Reputation, great album. I didn't like it when it came out, but I've come to like it.
It's aged
very well.
Yeah.
Lover, the singles were horrible. There are some really banger songs on that album.
That weren't the popular ones.
No,
right?
like Miss Americana and the Heartbreak Prince. The production on that is beautiful. It's awesome. And like Soon You'll Get Better, the one about her mom. Great song.
I didn't know that was about her mom.
Yeah. And so that one kind of fell off. And then we hit like COVID pandemic era. And that's when it went from like really, really liking Taylor Swift to she's transcending. And that's when Folklore came out.
Should have got your coffee cup.
I should have. I have a Folklore coffee cup. Really cool. Folklore was when Taylor, like, there's a fact that I have that I was going to bring out later, but this represents, she hasn't made a breakup album per se in about 10 years. So since 1989. Like, there were some songs that like alluded to some breakups and about that, but like she kind of deviated from that because she was like pigeonholed in this like breakup genre. But then from like the back half of 1989 to now, her songs haven't necessarily been focused around like post breakup.
Yeah.
Like Folklore and Evermore are storytelling albums, which is why I love them so much. Which then leads to Midnights, which I didn't necessarily love when it came out, but I had to separate the artist from like the music kind of. And I really like the music of Midnights, but I didn't like it as a Taylor Swift album.
Okay.
So it was hard for me to differentiate because it wasn't what I loved from Taylor Swift because she was just hot off of the storytelling with the deep lyrics and this acoustic feel. And then there was this 80s synth pop album. And I was like, with a lot of radio hits. And I didn't like that. Mm-hmm. But then when I took away that it was a Taylor Swift album, and I was like, if someone else put this album out, would I like it? And the answer was yes. It's still hard for me to kind of reconcile the Taylor Swift synth pop radio hit thing, but I do like it. And then the Tortured Poets Department came out, and we'll talk about that after. How about your? Sorry, that was a long. This will be a whole segment that people will skip.
If anybody remembers over the past year or so, all of the TikTok, Instagram, YouTube trends of people's wives being obsessed with Taylor Swift, it's a little reversed in this relationship. And Bryce is the fanboy Swiftie over there.
Which is kind of odd because whenever I listen to music, I usually like to listen to like indie artists or like artists that not many people hear.
Taylor Swift's just different
I mean,
for you.
Taylor Swift is #1 on all the charts, and I really love listening to her, so she's the exception.
So,
yes,
my
tell me.
relationship with Taylor Swift. So, I grew up listening to Taylor Swift in her country eras.
What was your first exposure?
The first album.
Okay.
So, now let's put this into perspective. I did a little bit of Googling here. Taylor Swift's album, like Taylor Swift, like self-named album, came out in 2006.
How old would you have been?
4 years old.
Okay.
Her next album came out when I was 6 years old, which was Fearless. And then, let me find, Speak Now came out when I was 8 years old.
Okay.
So, Taylor Swift was very much, those 3 albums were very much entwined into my childhood.
Yeah.
Like, I look back on memories or I hear her songs now and it reminds me of reminds me of when I was little. So like, for example, when Fearless came out, like I remember playing games with my sisters where we were like performing Taylor Swift songs. So that was like, cause we loved Taylor Swift. And so I can remember like those songs. Yeah. And you can kind of also sometimes, like when I listen to those songs, I can remember what like 6-year-old Camaryn thought the song was about and like all that, right?
Driving and you're like faces up against the window.
Yeah, like,
and you're like,
I'm really feeling it, but I've never felt those emotions
because you're 6.
Yeah. But then like so Speak Now will forever hold like such a big place because it was like I was 8 years old. Yeah. So it was one that I could really remember. It's kind of funny, this is a side note, but like whenever we listen to Fearless, how sometimes I still sing what I thought the lyrics were when I was like 6. Yeah. And so it's not the right words, but my brain can't learn the new words.
This is something that Camaryn does just overall. She thinks she knows what the lyrics are because she learned them when she was younger, but just came up with her own lyrics or what she thought they were.
Sometimes it's just noises. Like it's made up words.
And then I'm like, that's not what the lyrics are.
I still sing them that way to this day.
I find it very endearing, and that's one of my favorite things about you. So don't ever lose that.
But like, I remember with Speak Now, like I remember driving with like my dad would drop my oldest sister off before he would drop me off for school and everything, and like we'd listen to Speak Now on the way to school.
You and your dad?
Like, yeah, my dad loves Taylor Swift.
I did not know this.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna have to.
he does love Taylor
jams
Swift.
to some Taylor.
And he was the one I think that I think he probably was the one that introduced it to us, because I feel like he always just like found somebody on the internet and was like, oh,
Shania Twain.
Well, that was a long time ago. He liked her before the internet.
He was on the internet. Who is popular right now?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, but like,
yeah.
Like Carrie Underwood, like it was just our parents. Like we were very much, they would have us like whether it was Disney stars or like Taylor Swift, Carrie Underwood, Colby, Clay, like it was like we listened to a lot of girls, you know?
Yeah.
So, but anyways, yeah, and like picking me up from swim team, like I would listen to it on the way home. And yeah, so that I remember it was very much entwined into my childhood, which I think gives some context for
what happens later on.
Yes, because I really loved Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
And I really still, so when did Red come out?
2012.
2012. So I was 10. So I liked Red a lot.
Yeah.
It was one of those things where I liked it even more as I got further into my teen years. But yeah, I really liked Red, but it was kind of a shift for her.
It was a good bridge between Speak Now and 1989.
Yeah, so like Red's probably my favorite album.
Yeah.
Wow. My favorite album now.
Yeah.
But so like Speak Now holds the nostalgic. Red's probably still my favorite. And then 1989 happened, and it was like we got it, we listened to it, but I didn't love it as much as I loved the other albums. Now I do love 1989, but I think it was just kind of like, okay, what's she doing here?
Yeah.
Because I really loved the first 3 albums. And then Reputation happened, and I was like, no, I'm done. Like, because
you had so much nostalgia.
I had so much, like, I was like, who is this person?
Yeah.
Like, I grew up on this person. It's the same person.
Yeah.
And now that I'm older, well, I'll get into that.
Yeah.
But, like, I'll just keep going. But, like, now at that point, I was like, okay, so she's, like, even, like, 1989, like Blank Space was, like, a little, like, it was a little edgy, you know?
I know what you mean.
So it was just already a little, and then when Reputation came out, it felt so different.
It was such a deviation from what she was before.
From what I thought I knew about
who
Taylor was. Because when you grow up listening to somebody, they become part of, you kind of create like an ideal with like who they are.
Yeah, I don't know what came first, but Reputation was kind of like the Miley Cyrus Bangers album.
Right, and that happened for, it's not just Taylor Swift that happened for, like Miley Cyrus that happened for, Selena Gomez that happened for with me, like, and now that I'm older, I can appreciate those songs that at the time I didn't like, but it's because they're completely changing. It's hard, and like I said to you before, I was like, Taylor needed to give me some time to process it.
Yes.
Like Everybody didn't have enough
growing.
time
to
process this change.
2 years wasn't enough.
No. Yeah, so there was that, and then like I didn't listen to her. Like I listened to a few Lover songs and I was like,
Lover was kind of a return to form more towards the 1989.
But at that point, I just wasn't.
You were out of it.
Yeah. I also have this thing, and this is my own issue, and I know it's an issue where, and I've grown a lot, but like at that time, if something was really popular, I didn't like it as much. Like I did not like One Direction initially because they were super popular, and all these girls were like, huh, and I was like,
and Bryce. Okay. Bryce was low key
but
loving.
then when they put out their in the AM, their last
songs one. Made in the AM.
Then I started loving their old stuff too, and now I love 1D. But anyways, so it takes me a while to catch up with the crowd. Okay, it just takes me a while to be like, oh, I understand why people love this. So yeah, didn't listen, but then we were together, and you liked Taylor Swift. So Midnights comes out.
Yes, you skipped over Folklore and Evermore.
Yeah, because I didn't listen to them.
You didn't listen to them.
I still don't know that I listened to the whole album.
You haven't.
But we're learning. We're growing. Midnights comes out.
Yes.
And I was like, because, okay, did Midnights come out before we went to Florida?
Midnights
after.
came out after.
So we had a conversation in Florida. I don't know if you remember this, but you were playing Folklore.
Yes.
And I was like...
And you said that we were going to take a drive and listen to it front to back, but we never did.
Okay, well... No, but listen, I remember I was like, I could get on board with this. I had never heard those albums. So I was like, this is like the Taylor that I like this sound. Like, I can get on board with this. Midnights comes out and I go, no. I did not like Midnights. Don't come at me. It's my opinion.
Yeah.
It's okay. We can have different opinions.
Which I also, just not to cut you off, but with Midnights, I really like the songs a lot. And I hate when you're like, Bryce, that's a TikTok song now.
And I think that's also part of it. Like I said, I can't always get on board right away with, I like things that were popular when they stopped being popular.
Yeah.
And so like when TikTok kind of took over, took all of Midnight songs and was like.
Literally every song.
It can be kind of hard when you're hearing it. Like.
Yeah.
And also like it was on the radio all the time and, you know.
See, also, I'm not on TikTok or like I don't look at Reels very often, and I don't listen to the standard radio.
At that point, I worked somewhere where we had like 95.1 playing, so
I'm not like getting influenced through that way.
Yeah.
So I'm not hearing it repetitively.
Yeah.
I was able to take it on my own.
Yeah.
Time.
But I didn't really like the sound. I didn't like the messaging either. Okay. But we're going to get into that because there's now this album provides context for Midnight's album. But I didn't like the messaging because I was like, what are you doing? Like, I grew up on Taylor Swift and the things that she said were like, okay.
Yeah.
But then this seemed questionable.
Were they okay though?
I don't know.
If we really dive into it.
We can get into that.
Okay.
But like, this just felt like, I was like, why are you teaching people that this is... you know what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying.
I had a hard time with Midnights. And there were moments, some tense moments between the two of us over Taylor Swift, which I know is silly, but it happened.
There are a couple of moments that stick clear in my brain.
Yeah.
But
there was like twice we had a full-on fight about Taylor Swift.
I know.
Stupid. We know.
Stupid.
But it happens. But here's where I'm at now.
Yes.
I've really opened my mind to Taylor Swift. We've watched documentaries and it's given me context. Like, for example, we watched the documentary, I don't know which one it was, but
Miss Americana,
it gave context to Reputation and that album.
Yes.
And so that helps me understand the songs and why she made such a switch, what she was trying to say.
Yeah.
I think I've also understood that Taylor Swift, as much as she is this like pop icon, is more an artist and is more a songwriter. And so when she's writing these songs, although I think that there's a good amount of people who take them surface level, you can't when it comes to Taylor Swift. You have to understand what she's trying to say because she's more of an artist than she is. She might look on the outside like a pop icon, but I don't know if she necessarily is.
Yeah, I have...
Which we get into with
there's
this
a lot
album.
I want to talk about in that realm, which we'll get to then.
So
but that's an interesting idea.
I've opened my mind to that. I've enjoyed listening to her re-releases of her albums like Speak Now and Red and 1989. And because those were the songs I really liked. And by listening to those, I've been like, okay. Yeah. You know, like I can get on board with some of her songs, like some of her eras. Yeah. But I can appreciate, like we watched the Eras tour, like the movie. Yeah. It was awesome. I was a little hurt that there was one song from Speak Now, but like it's okay.
And this is again getting into the stuff that we're going to talk about more later, but I feel like she really is trying to separate herself from that part of her life and moving forward.
But it was such an important part of my childhood. No, but so where I'm at now is I'm very open to... I wouldn't say I'm a Swiftie, but I like to listen to Taylor Swift.
You appreciate her music.
I appreciate her music. I appreciate her artistry. There's some songs I love. Yeah. But there's some songs that I'm like... I'm not a person... I feel like sometimes Swifties are like people who love everything that she does. Yeah. And I'm not necessarily that. I'm not that with anybody, though. Yeah. I don't just blindly follow people... not saying that you are or any Swifties are, but
Well,
not blindly follow, but I'm not going to get excited just because Taylor Swift's releasing something.
Yeah.
I'm going to listen to it and see if I like it. And then if I do get excited. Does that make sense?
yes. And like, I would say categorically I'm probably a Swiftie because I love Taylor Swift. I love her music. I don't feel like I blindly follow her. And I can see.
I didn't mean that.
No. I know.
Don't come at me.
I know what you mean.
They're scary out there. You know?
They are scary. But I also feel like I can.
Not that they're listening.
I can critique her music and be like, no, see, like this song, it's pretty surface
or
level.
Like this album is better than this album.
Exactly. Or this is where she's working at her very best. And this one's just, you can tell that this is a radio pop hit.
Yeah.
Like Me, horrible song.
Right. So you have to be willing to like especially with an artist who puts out so much music, they're not going to hit it on, what's the saying? Hit it on the head.
Hit it on the head. They can't knock it out of the park every single time.
There you go. That's a better one. But like you can't. So you have to. There's gonna be songs that you like or whatever or don't like as much.
Yeah.
So, I'm kind of figuring out where I'm at. If I am a Swiftie or not. But I do appreciate her music, and I love. Basically, I know that I definitely love 1989 and before.
Yes.
And I'm learning to appreciate and maybe love some of her other albums.
So all of that culminates into the Tortured Poets department.
Because I wasn't sure that I was going to like it.
I know.
I actually thought I wasn't going to like it.
So she announced it at the 66th Grammys when she won Best Pop Vocal Album.
Yeah, which some people didn't like that she did that.
I know.
I don't know that I did. But
I thought it was
not gonna make me lose sleep at night. So
I didn't care. I was excited when she did it.
But also, like, if somebody else did that, they probably wouldn't get as much hate. But it's Taylor Swift, and
people are gonna.
She's kind of divisive.
Yeah.
She's not.
No.
But
the fan base.
The fan base can be.
And there's
strong people who don't like her, and there's strong people who are obsessed with her, and so they like to come at it.
There are people that are like, oh, I don't like just her, period, and they don't know anything about her. They haven't listened to her music since Red, but they know that she's dating Travis Kelce and that she's always on TV.
And people are gonna criticize people who are great.
Exactly. They build you up just so they can tear you down.
Where did we hear that?
I don't remember, but it was so. Was it her?
I don't think so.
I don't remember, but it's insightful. It was in
a doc or something.
It was. I forget which one.
We'll get back to you on that.
Yes,
because it was good.
So she announced it at the Grammys. She won Album of the Year and Best Pop Vocal Album of the Year. And
for Midnights.
So then she released this album cover and the title, and that instantly got me hooked. I said, the Tortured Poets Department sounds like the Dead Poets Society. That's really cool. And it kind of gave off the Folklore Evermore vibe. Kind of. It was like kind of...
In the imaging.
It was contemplative. It looked more mature. And I was like, okay, I'm in. And then some things started to leak, and the leaks were like, oh, it's a synth pop album. And that's what Midnights was categorized under. And I was like, oh man, I don't know how I feel about this. But I was still on board. And then the track list came out, and I saw the track list. And I was like, okay, there's some potential here. And that's purely going off of judging a book by its cover, like titles. And it came out, and So what are your thoughts? What was your anticipation for this album? Was there anticipation?
Nope.
You didn't lose sleep? You weren't counting it down?
Nope. I feel like on the 18th, I saw like a TikTok, and I was like, oh, that's tomorrow. And I was like, Bryce, do you know what comes out tomorrow?
But then I was like the week before, I was like, 1 week until Taylor Swift drops her album. In my head.
ASMR right there for you. No, I didn't have any anticipation. I knew there was like a conspiracy theory video I saw about the album.
It did leak beforehand. I did not listen to it before.
But I didn't have any expectations for it. and I listened to it with really no expectations. I didn't think I was going to like it because I wasn't sure. I thought it was going to be like, I was like, well, she's probably going in like a Midnight's direction, but I don't think that she did.
I don't think so. And
I really like this album.
What would your rating be out of 10?
I can't do that.
Okay, that's fine.
I am not unbiased enough to give an objective.
Okay.
Like,
that's
I
fair.
feel like I'm still having conflicting feelings,
that's
so
fair.
I can't give a fair rating.
And I also believe that I can't give a fair rating because I'm more biased towards her. Yeah. If I was trying to give it, like, if I had to give it a rating, it'd be like a 9.7 out of 10.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost perfect.
Yeah. So.
Yes.
We talked about this album a little bit.
We should have had the camera rolling. We had a lot of great conversations.
We did. But one thing that we talked about, because we talked about the day that it came out.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, Friday.
Yeah.
So, it felt, one of the issues that I've had with Taylor Swift's albums before, now let me preface, I don't know her personally, so I don't know what she's actually like. But is feeling like sometimes her songs can come off as not genuine to her.
Yeah.
And I don't have a problem with that in this album. So I think that's why Midnight's was all the songs were super like poppy, and it just didn't always feel like it was genuinely her style, especially after like some of the albums that she's done before that felt very like artsy to her. Yeah. And I didn't have a problem with this album. Like, I felt like for the first time, this album feels like Taylor. Like, truly, one thing I said to you was I don't feel like she was making it for anybody else. She wasn't making it for the fans. She wasn't making it for it to be popular, but she made it for herself.
Yeah.
Because one of the things on this album is that front to back, it's heavy themes.
Yeah.
Like heavy topics, really digs into her life in the past 6+ years.
6-7 years.
So it's almost like this album is like a healing experience for her. And so you have to do that for yourself and for no one else. And so like, even I'm just thinking like Adele's last album, like it is stylistically unique to her.
Yeah.
It's not what she's done before. There's inspiration from what she's done before, but it was kind of unique because it was a healing experience for her. That's almost what this album feels like for Taylor. And so I like that authenticity and that like rawness almost.
Yeah.
But she does it in a very poetic way. Hence the title.
Yeah.
And do you want to touch on that and then talk about the influence from her past?
Yeah, so I'm just trying to figure out where I want to go. So just overall, I loved the album. I felt like the same things that you were saying. I feel like this is her at her most self-realized, and this is really the culmination of everything that she's been doing, but at her best. And it's not for the fans. It's not for anyone other than herself. And I think that's where we can see the visceral vulnerability, because there's strong language, not in explicitiveness, but
it's just themes.
The themes, and she's not pulling punches. She brought like a knife to a fist fight. Like,
isn't that a line for one of her songs?
I think maybe, but like she's not pulling any punches here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of blood metaphorically being like sprawled.
Bryce is very poetic recently because of this album, so
yeah,
he's kind of speaking in metaphors now.
But like the song, "The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived," that's if I was the guy that was written about, like, come on.
But she doesn't do it in a way that, like, in the past, some like there was a lot in culture about like, well, you don't want to, like, questions being asked to her, which is stupid, but like, why would you write these breakup songs about boys? Because why would they date you if you're gonna write these breakup songs? Where it was like very much like where I don't think that's a great question to ask somebody, because it's like, her answer was genius. Do you know this interview that I'm talking about?
Yeah.
But there were some breakup songs that she had that were like very like you're the problem type of thing. Whereas I feel like here it's like we were the problem.
Yeah.
Like you're not a great guy, but I made a mistake too.
Yeah.
And so like it's very honest.
It's really self-reflecting.
Yeah.
There's a lot of self-reflection because it really feels like she had a notebook that she was taking notes and writing poems down. And like these were all poems and just thoughts. And she put them into song. It's hard.
It's very real.
It's very real. The comparison that I made in my brain of like The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived was kind of like how whenever I first heard Dear John, you like know who they're talking about.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay.
But that's a
it's a great song.
But
I love John Mayer.
yeah, I do too.
She never said it was about him, but I mean
She also said that she's never named one of the guys. She has an interview where she says,
contradicted.
I've never named a guy in my songs.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, poor John.
Well, I read not an interview. I read an article from, I think it was the New York Times or the New Yorker or something. And they're like, the only thing that is keeping Taylor Swift human is her contradictions. Like that. I'm like, if she didn't have contradictions and some of that stuff, I'd be like, she is 100% an AI brought to life.
But one thing about this album, to get back onto the album, is like, this feels like it wraps up the Eras tour and the Eras.
That's what you said whenever we first talked about it.
Yes, because
I couldn't agree more.
When I listen to this album, I hear influence from all of her albums leading up to this. There are some songs that when we were listening to, it's like, this sounds like Red.
Yeah.
This has 1989 influence. This has Fearless influence. Yeah. This has Midnights. This has Folklore. Like, there's so much but yet she brings all that into an album and then makes it uniquely stand alone. Yeah. So it's not like, oh, it sounds like another. It's just like you can hear bits and pieces. And so sometimes with the Eras tour albums, I'm just going to call it the Eras albums, if that makes sense, is that they're so different. Like Midnights and like Red are like different.
Yeah.
So it almost feels like you're listening to a different artist when you're listening to those albums. Where this feels, that's why I feel like it feels so Taylor, because it's like all of those things that have made her the artist that she is in one album.
Well, it's hard to compare like Fearless or Speak Now to Reputation. Yeah. But you can hear both of those in the Tortured Poets department. It's like she's taken the best parts of everything she's ever done. Like Midnight's arguably, it's not my favorite. I like it, but it's not my favorite. But she took the best parts of Midnight's and put it into this album, like the synth pop production value. And then she took the great storytelling aspects of Folklore and Evermore, put that in there. And some of the catchy melodies.
Like emphasis in her voice that's from the
earlier
Red. Yeah. And even some of the like strong guitar leads that's from like Fearless and Speak Now. Yeah. Like we haven't heard that in a while. And I like that. Also,
just to mention, we're not really like, she released the Tortured Poets department and then she released a second album.
We were going to try to get through that, but we couldn't.
There was too much.
It was just a lot. It was a lot.
And there's some great songs on the back half, but
that's another conversation.
Yes. So and whenever we talk about songs specifically, we're going to mostly be talking about the standard first release.
So I have a thought that popped in my head when we were talking about this.
Yeah.
The aesthetic of the Tortured Poets department is black and white.
I love it.
But I have a question.
Go for it.
We just saw the Eras tour happen.
Yeah. It was all colorful.
Era
yeah,
has like a color theme.
Yes.
And it's like, and kind of her albums have that too. Is this Taylor's way to say that's over? Is this a way for her to be like, we're moving on to a new season now?
A new season.
Because what I would love is for Taylor to move forward making albums like this one that's so genuinely her, that might not have 5 songs that go on the top charts but she has great songs in it. And I'm like, is this her way to be like, we did that, we loved it, it was fun.
Yeah.
Now I'm moving more into my artistry, and so even the branding of it, from going from Era's colors to black and white, just shows that's done. We're moving on.
That's
because that's great marketing.
That's a astute observation. I love that. That's great. I gotta sit with that for a second. So, like,
Bryce got process.
I love the eras, all of them, but I'm fine with it being like, I want it to be.
We celebrated
it, and one of my concerns going into this album was how is she?
I guess it's not over though.
It's not, because
she has to release like Reputation and stuff.
Yeah, but in my mind, it's kind of over, and there's still more tour left. Yeah. But to this release, whenever Taylor Swift or somebody of this magnitude announces that they're going to be releasing something, it's met with a lot of excitement. But then I also have a little bit of hesitation of, will this live up to album of the year, or will this whatever? And so when this came out, this isn't probably going to win album of the year. And I'm fine with that because it's perfect the way it is.
I like that though, because I think artists need to make music that's their art and their music, and isn't going to be number one. You don't make a song to make it number one. Yeah. And when we do that, we lose authenticity. And so not to compare again, but like I'm just thinking with Adele's last album, like I don't know if much, like there was like one song that people really grabbed onto, but that's not like her previous album. There were a lot more, but it felt authentic to Adele, and she's like, I want to make more music like this, and that's where I want Taylor to go. I want her to make more music that's her, even if people around her go, like fans are like, oh, I liked it, but it wasn't like something I'm gonna like bop to in the car. Like, you're not gonna be bopping to this song.
So there are a couple radio coded
but there's
songs.
still.
But they're still deep. What was the song on Adele's last record that was like the song?
Easy on Me.
That is one of the greatest songs.
I love Adele's last record.
The 21st century. I love Adele. That will go down in.
But this isn't about Adele.
No. Oh my goodness.
Today.
Easy on Me is perfect. There no notes. No notes.
She's just perfect.
She is great. Back to Taylor.
I guess I feel the way about Adele that Bryce feels about Taylor.
I feel like Adele has a lot less controversy.
Yeah, and she's like, she pieces out for like 4 years.
Which I wouldn't mind if she did.
That's what I told you the other day. I was like, I want her to be somebody that we don't hear about Taylor Swift, and then all of a sudden she drops this amazing album and then she leaves again.
I kind of like,
I would be okay with that.
Like in Reputation, she was like, I'm sorry, the old Taylor can't come in the front. Why? Because she died.
Because she's dead.
I kind of want the Taylor Swift of the eras to kind of like be put away,
be appreciated, but to see, wow, this is what.
And that the Eras tour was kind of a culmination of all that. And it's like, we're celebrating the past, but now we have this new era, her adult era, because she's in her 30s. She doesn't want to be singing Speak Now songs or even Red songs.
And does she want to be making music at the speed that she was when she was 21?
Well, she's killing it now. Like, she recorded 2 albums in the past 2 years. While doing a world tour.
She crazy.
She has to be like
tired. She's gonna need to sleep for a year straight. Like that's what I'm saying. Like she got recharged somewhere.
Yeah. But that's why whenever, I don't know what your opinion is or not, but like whenever I do see her like vacationing with Travis and all that, I'm like, she deserves it. Yeah. Like also like, please don't be taking pictures of her and following her around. That's like weird and creepy and just don't be invasive. But like, it's like good for you. Yeah. You do deserve this. Yeah. But yeah, I like, so she had the eras. I want that to kind of like be put on a bookshelf, and then she releases this. Very different. It culminates everything that she did and puts into this, but it's very different. Yeah. And it's like, I want the future to be this. It's very mature. It's for a grown-up audience. And
do you want to get in that now or just wait a little
let's
bit?
get into it now. I feel like to the eras, which we'll get into, like it was growing with the audience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I was 4 when her first album came
Exactly.
out. And now I'm an adult.
But this isn't for 8-year-old Camaryn.
I don't even know if Speak Now is for 8-year-old Camaryn.
But this is not as an adult explicitive, but it's an adult album, not made for young people.
The themes of, and that's why I said earlier, when you listen to Taylor Swift, you have to listen past surface level, because that can be 2 things. One, you hear something and you're like, ooh, that's questionable, but she's not saying what you actually think she said. Like, there's been times where I've listened to songs where I'm like, why is she saying that?
Yeah.
But then you listen to the context of why she's saying it, and it's like, oh, she is saying that it's bad, or she said, you know what I mean? But then there's also the thing where you could really listen to this album musically and not lyrically, because it's very poetic.
Yeah.
But there are things throughout the album that I would not want a child or a preteen or even a young teenager, like 13, 14.
Like 12, 13. Like that should be the cut. Like 13
I don't think they're going to understand the concepts, nor should they listen to it. And we'll get into that.
Yeah.
But yes, I agree that it grows with the audience, because when we were listening to Red, like I was 10. I was probably young for like growing with Taylor Swift type of thing. But, you know, I was almost a preteen. And there were some themes in that. There were deeper themes, but like you said, they were like, you could understand them at that age.
Well, All Too Well. Very, like one of her best songs.
Right. Which I appreciated as I got older.
But you can understand it at a surface level at like 14. And then it gets deeper as you get older.
Yes.
And like now it hits
very hard. As you've had experiences and things like that.
Yes.
But you have to, her themes are not only heavy or deep, but they're also delivered in a way that you need to critically analyze her lyrics to understand what she's saying.
I felt like I needed a lyric sheet.
I know. I tried. I did that with some of the songs, which does help. But so along with this topic, I was looking at the gram. And there was honestly not many videos popped up with Taylor Swift right away, like with her new album. But then some did. And I was just looking at the comments because I wanted to see, do people like the album? Do they not? Like, what do the Swifties think? But when you look at the Swiftie audience, you also look at the hater audience. And somebody commented, they were like, why do you guys listen to this like her? And like basically along the lines of, she swears in these songs, but 12-year-olds listen to her.
Yeah.
And the thing is, 12-year-olds are not supposed to be listening to this album. I don't think they are. And
also 12-year-olds are swearing just period anyway at school. But
I think that that's the issue.
Yeah.
It's like we have put Taylor Swift in this box of, you are for the preteen audience.
Yeah.
But she's not writing for the preteen audience anymore. The experiences that she's had in this, she talks about in this album, no 12-year-old has had those.
No.
And we can listen to them having experience in relationships that weren't good relationships. And we might not have the exact same experience, but we can relate because we've been in those relationships.
Yeah.
And so instead of being mad at Taylor Swift for being like, you shouldn't be doing these things because 12-year-olds are listening to you, how about parents don't let your 12-year-old listen to this album? Like,
yeah.
Because why, like, Taylor Swift's themes throughout her albums have grown with her and with our age group who started young listening to
like,
her.
Speak Now, perfectly good for 12-year-olds because that's where she was in her career.
Red, good for 12-year-olds.
Yeah. 1989 even. Like, but like as she evolves,
but
her
like
music
Midnight's
evolves.
no.
No, what? Yeah, like
I think, because what I think is these themes that she's talking about, again, she's a writer. So she says it in a way where it's like, if I'm 12 and I don't know how to process the world yet, and we're still learning at our age, but like at 12, the way I processed the world was totally different. And I'm hearing these things from somebody who I really love. That's teaching me about the world when I'm not old enough to understand those concepts yet. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 12-year-old hasn't lived the life or lived in the world long enough to understand the concepts that somebody that
about
is,
relationships or about personality as an individual. Like,
because like in Fearless Speak Now, Red, it's like, oh no, he broke my heart, we broke up. It's like pretty basic
concepts,
not discounting or taking away, minimizing what she felt in those moments. But the themes of this album are a lot more than just he broke my heart, we broke up, and all of that.
The other problem I have is, why is there a problem with the fact that Taylor Swift is swearing? It doesn't, if you take the swear words out of these songs, it doesn't negate the fact that this is too heavy for a 12-year-old. Like, it's not the swear words. No. They know them. It's the themes. And what I would hate is for a 12-year-old to say, I want to experience that like Taylor Swift, and then end up in a situation that's harmful to them. Not that Taylor Swift's responsible for that, but that it's this like, 12-year-old, you're figuring out yourself. You're going through things, changes. You're starting to have different feelings. Like, it's a confusing time.
I was still building Legos and reading comic books. But I mean, what's that different than what I do now?
It's a confusing time. And they're probably going to hear some of these songs on the radio, but those songs aren't the deepest ones. But it's like, I just think my point is, we have to move Taylor Swift out of the preteens, teens age group and into who she's actually writing for.
That's actually one of the notes I had, that a huge misconception among just the mass population is Taylor Swift is for teenagers or preteens. She's not. As she grows, she's now for college age, post-college.
30-year-olds.
Her own age
Millennials.
group.
She is a millennial and she writes like a millennial. Like, we can appreciate it because we're old enough to appreciate it. But she is writing these breakup albums as 34. And so we're married. It's not like we can, because our generation, some of us get married early. But like, millennials are still like 34 and single, and they're like, oh my gosh, Taylor Swift just related to my entire experience, right?
Exactly.
It's like, she's writing for 30s. And college after, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she's not writing for 12, 13-year-olds. No. And her early stuff was for that.
But that's where she was in her career.
Parents, listen to lyrics. Like, I'm not a person that, I don't think that sheltering your kids is good.
No, it's not.
But also, critically analyzing things is good. And so you can't just go, oh, it's Taylor Swift, I'm sure it'll be fine. Here, go listen to it, and not, you know what I mean? It's like, no, you have to think about these lyrics and be like, okay, so they're talking about heroin in here. Maybe I don't.
And or heroin not in the sense of a female hero.
And if my child is listening to it, let me sit with them and explain these concepts that they might not understand.
Exactly.
To the point where it's, hey, she's talking about like a really unhealthy relationship and how she didn't want to be like, she's writing it now knowing that it wasn't good for her. And so when we enter into relationships with people, we have to be really careful, because we can, explain it to them. I'm not a parent, so I'm not telling people how to parent, but what I'm saying is, don't, like, the question is, when it comes to media, because we talk about that, is it the artists? Is it the directors? Is it the actors' job to make sure that what they do is acceptable for kids who used to be their fans? Like, we talked about Zendaya. It's like, Zendaya was a Disney star.
Then she did Euphoria.
But you don't want to have your kids watching Euphoria, although I think some did, and that's... have you seen the clip where the little kid walks up to the mic and is like, Zendaya, I have a question.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like, please tell me you're not in here.
Yeah.
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 So that
Because,
happens,
like,
I guess.
It's not Zendaya's fault that she wanted to do something more mature, more like that, and then that propelled her into like massive stardom.
Yeah.
But it's not her fault that she was in Euphoria. It's the parents' fault.
Right. Who's responsible for that?
They're like, oh, she was in Casey Undercover. That should be fine too. Or something I don't really like is, so like there's a clean version, assumptively that there's a clean version of this. I don't know. I don't listen to the clean versions because those aren't the
I
real.
don't know that there is.
I don't know
yet or going to be.
But like parents will be like, oh, you can listen to the clean version. If you take out the curse words in this album, it still has a darker, more mature message, like you were saying.
Where are you going to take out all the time she refers to drugs,
sex,
partying, sex,
abusive
toxic relationships? Yeah, wait, the whole album's
it's
now.
like, yeah, you can take out the F words, but that doesn't mean anything if, like, I don't know. I don't care. Put the curse words in. I don't care.
It's not it's
intense.
To just say that curse words are what's bad is naive.
Well, like, yeah, that's a whole different topic.
And we are not speaking as parents.
No.
But we are speaking from a generation who has been influenced by technology and being learning things or being exposed to things earlier than previous generations.
Exactly.
So, and knowing that is only continuing. So that's what we're speaking from. And I think it's fine to say there are some things meant for certain audiences. Yeah. And do I think that Taylor maybe could do a better job of saying, hey, by the way, parents, I'm not for your kids anymore. Like, I'm writing this for me and for people who understand my stage of life. Maybe she has. I don't know.
But she also like hasn't promoted this album like she has her other ones. And it wasn't, I don't know. I feel like this album was strictly for her. This was her thoughts and emotions over the past couple years. And she wanted to put it out there and get it off her chest. And now she can move on to whatever else she wants to do.
Yeah. And like, it's one thing for me when I was 8 years old to be singing like Dear John out the window, like, oh, you made me like sad and you broke my heart. And like, shouldn't you have known better than to like.
He probably should have known better.
But yeah. But like, I didn't fully understand that as a kid though, but I was like, oh, I just know this is a sad song. But it's another thing if you have your like 10-year-old or 8-year-old in the back seat singing about singing about these concepts, I'd be like, no. Yeah. Like it's just different. And like something that I think when kids are trying, like when you're growing up, you're being exposed to so much and your brain can't filter, like our brains can't filter that out now as adults, but like you can't filter everything and know. And I think for something that I feel in my experience is I made a lot of conclusions in my mind at a young age because of those things I was exposed to that then have influenced me today and has influenced my like anxiety. And so I made conclusions that I needed to be fearful. And I think that can happen in other areas as well, where like you are being influenced by what you're watching and what you're listening to. And you can make conclusions about what a relationship looks like. And so that's not to like Taylor wrote from a really honest place. Yeah. But as a child or as a preteen who's entering into that phase, I feel like it opens up the opportunity for them to want to experience what she did. Yeah. And you never want somebody to go through a toxic relationship. We've both been in them. The different sides of who she's writing about. Yeah. Right? That's kind of interesting.
It is.
But and it's like that's not, you hope that people don't have to go through that to learn what a good relationship is. Does that make sense?
It does.
And I don't know.
No, I know what you're saying.
So basically our PSA is if you have young children, maybe listen to the album first and then make a decision for yourself and for your family, whether that child should be listening to it.
Yes.
But
So moving deeper into the album.
Yeah. It's a longer episode than we thought.
It is.
But it's fun.
It is. So this album is produced by Jack Antonoff of Bleachers, which he's more than just Bleachers, but he is one of the best producers working right now.
He deserves
all of the credit. Not all the credit. Not all of the credit, because it's that feels bad.
You over exaggerate, and sometimes it gets you caught up in things.
Yes.
Like,
he deserves.
You don't mean that, but
No.
you were trying to make a point, and
Taylor Swift deserves all the credit. Jack.
Well, no.
Are we splitting the pie? Where do we split the pie?
Yeah, I think Taylor would split with Jack.
Yes, Taylor deserves like 80%.
She wrote it.
Yeah.
He produced it.
Yeah.
But if it wasn't Taylor's lyrics, maybe it wouldn't be as good. And if it wasn't his production, it wouldn't be as good.
Well, he co-wrote a lot of the songs.
Oh, well, see, he's just awesome.
He is. He's incredible. And then Aaron Dessner produced and co-wrote some of the songs too.
Highly recommend listening to the albums. If you're listening to the songs to try to hear the production, listen to it on a good sound system.
Yeah.
I was going to say speaker, but I guess it's more than that.
Like, I have these studio monitors in here, and you can hear every...
Slight flex.
Well, yeah. You can hear every minute detail of the production.
I then listen to it on my phone and then with my AirPods in, and this is the best.
Yeah, because you can hear all the...
And then your car is second.
My car is pretty good, but these studio monitors are just out of this world.
So maybe listen to it in your car if you don't have studio monitors.
Exactly. AirPods are also good.
My left one just doesn't work, so that's why.
So something that I've come to realize is, especially in this album, whenever Jack co-writes a song with her, he sharpens the lyrics. They're like really like biting and attacking. Like they're really sharp lyrics, and the sound is very sharp. When Dessner works with her, he softens her up. Like the songs that he writes with her, they're like, I don't know. Like Robin off of this album, which is on the back half of that's a Dessner one. And it just, I love that there's the two sides, and I think they both make her better.
Yeah.
So that's all I have to say about the production. But the production is like
awesome.
It's near perfect. Like, if you want to have a masterclass in production, go listen to this album.
And just like the music and the melodies and stuff are like I said, you could listen to this album without listening to the lyrics.
It could be an instrumental album, and I'd be hooked. Like I think we talked about this a while ago. Midnight's, the production was great, but the vocals felt pulled back a little bit, and the production was forward, and it didn't feel like there was a lot of melody in the music itself, that her voice was the melody moving the songs, even though it was pulled back. This, her vocal was front, like it was up. It was front and center, sometimes behind some reverb and some technical things, but like it was more forward, and there was melody and sometimes some complex melodies going on. I really liked it.
Yeah.
So I only have one critique of this album. Get an editor. It's way too long. Like, as an editor, it's too long. I get lost in the middle. Like, every song's great or good.
They kind of all blend together, and then you don't really know what you're listening to.
Yes. So even like the standard edition, I feel like
it's
16, 13, 14, 15, 16 songs maybe? I don't know.
Let me check.
I even feel like
it is 16 songs.
I feel like
That's
she could have
long.
cut 3 and had 13 songs on the standard.
She could have made this into 2 albums.
Yes, and I get that it's like a cohesive,
Yeah,
like they all kind
it's
of
all
have,
through the same season.
and that she wanted to like get this off her chest and then move on to the future.
Yeah, because it's heavy.
But like, it's too long. It's 2 hours and 2 minutes. It's like 31 tracks. It's just, and it feels kind of
Maybe there are songs that are just for her.
Yes.
That she didn't need to put out.
It feels kind of sacrilegious to say that, like, oh, like, Taylor, you're giving us too much. because like, isn't that what you want as a fan? Like you want more and more and more, but then when you get more, you're like, yeah, you should have like cut some. I don't know. That's kind of like the internal battle I'm feeling. I'm glad that we have it, but if I had one note, it's way too long.
Yeah.
This is more of the mindset of like an award or like critical analysis of, it would have been more probably cohesive if you compacted it a little bit. But I'm fine with it as is, I guess. Yeah. Did you have any critiques or anything you were like, I don't really like this?
Okay, so here's the thing. I don't lose sleep over Taylor Swift, and like I'm not that much of like I don't know. Yeah. I don't have enough to be like, oh, I loved this and I didn't like this. Yeah. It's just like overall I thought it was a good album.
Cool. You're not would you say that you're like a music critic? Like, do you listen to music critically? Or is it something you're growing accustomed to? Or do you like whenever you listen to music?
I think I listen to it critically.
Okay, cool. But I would say that you listen to music critically.
Yeah. But I'm not like, I don't know.
Okay. Yeah.
I kind of listen to it song by song, not always album. Does that make sense? Like each song I critically analyze more.
That's where I would have put you. Like you do listen, you don't just listen for the beat.
But I am learning things because I didn't know what genres of music I liked until we started dating. And then I'd be like, oh, I really like this. And you'd be like, oh, you like this. Oh yeah,
that's this subgenre right here. You're like, oh yeah.
Americana. Some soft rock.
Some folk pop. Like you like
kind of in that area. They've got some overlaps.
Yeah. So cool. You're growing in that too. Yeah. Like,
but that's the other thing. I'm not a super like I don't love pop.
No.
This doesn't pop either.
No, but you also have to take that into context that like Midnight's that's not even your genre.
That's not my genre at all.
That's not even the realm of music that you would listen to. Like you're not listening to Carly Rae or I do. And you're not
I don't really.
You're not typically listening to the synth poppy bangers. That's okay. That's what like Folklore's my jam because that's the type of music I would listen to anyway, and that I'm kind of biased towards that. That's why I like this. But moving on.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're getting really sidetracked. I know you're
talking to you.
What?
I like talking.
I like talking to you too.
Do you see my energy just depleting?
I'm sorry. I didn't know if you were like getting bored of me or annoyed at me or if you were just getting tired.
I'm just getting tired. Okay. I'm hot and I'm ready for some pizza.
So we'll wrap this up real quick. What are your top 5 songs?
Oh, is it ready?
Well, actually, let's start at the bottom.
What are my least favorite songs?
Started from the bottom. Now we're here, like Drake, which is a whole different thing. Rap beef in the rap world.
Silly. Y'all want to know my opinion on that? Let us know because I think it's. Well, I'll wait.
Kendrick Lamar is the greatest rapper alive right now. That's putting out music. That's all I gotta say about that. But Drake did just put out a pretty mean diss track. It's pretty good.
I like J. Cole.
I love J. Cole too, but he apologized for his diss track and took it down.
He's a good person.
He is a good person.
Because when he raps, he talks about meaningful things. And he was like, that wasn't really, so let me just forget about it.
Well, we should do a deep dive into like Kendrick Lamar's music and J. Cole's music.
I feel like if we do that, we need to make sure that we bring somebody on the podcast who has more knowledge
like in my brother
area than we do.
We should bring my brother on.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I kind of meant something else, but that's okay.
Okay.
Let's move on.
Bottom 3.
We said 2.
Oh, bottom 2.
We said 2.
Okay, what's your bottom 2?
The one I really didn't like.
Yes.
Is I Can Do It With a Broken Heart.
Oh, okay.
Not really didn't like, but the one I liked the least.
Why?
It's very Midnight's.
It is.
It was very poppy.
It is.
And again, it's just not my style of music. So.
Okay. I can appreciate so whenever I was compiling my list for bottom songs, I really liked every song. So it was hard to, and I liked every song, so it was hard to find my top favorites and my least favorites. That one was kind of in the short running. I came to the conclusion that I actually do like that song a lot more than having it in the bottom two. It's a catchy vibe. It's not like my favorite, but it's catchy.
Yep. I don't have much to say because I'd have to like listen to the song right now and then I don't remember everything about it. But
how about the other one?
The other one is Who's Afraid of Little Old Me. Not because I don't like the song.
Okay.
But because I feel like it's going to be a TikTok song.
That's a good reason to have it at the bottom.
And because that phrase is like, it repeats, I think, and it's like, I feel like there's going to be someday we're going to talk about the influence of, I feel like there's going to be a TikTok genre where it's like almost kind of, where it's like these notes, these sounds, this, I don't have music theory, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the way that these notes move is what makes some songs more popular in TikTok than others.
Like this register of noises affects our brain in a way that we can't.
Yeah. And like the you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not.
I wouldn't disagree with you really on those bottom two. They're not in my bottom two, but
which ones are in your bottom two?
So
I feel like my top are gonna be in your bottom two probably.
Clara Bow.
That was almost in my top.
Really?
I liked it.
I like it, but I don't love it. I felt like it was a kind of a weak song to end the standard edition.
No, but did you hear the last part?
I know.
When she says Taylor Swift.
I know.
That almost reminds me of Speak Now when she does like really, and Reputation. She gets very like.
Well, I love that it's
like she breaks the fourth wall in music.
She does. The arc, the character arc in that song is great because it starts out with like the silent, like she's silent, and it's like Stevie Nicks, and then it's like her. So I love the arc, and maybe I am gonna have to take this out of my bottom because after talking about it, I'm like, oh, actually, it is pretty great. It's just so, yeah, I liked it, but there's so many songs that it kind of got.
But I think it kind of leaves you on a. Well, first of all, she was like, oh, I've got a whole half of the album I'm gonna put after that. But I feel like it kind of leaves you on like almost requires the fans to reflect on how we view Taylor.
If that would have been the last song.
Right, doesn't it? I don't know.
It kind of does. Like, if she didn't release the second half, and that was the last song, I think I might have liked it even better. Because it's like, oh, here's her character.
I know,
I contradicted myself. See, talking about this, verbally processing.
So Bryce doesn't know what his least favorite is anymore. Okay, what's the other one?
Okay.
Because you had 3.
Florida.
That was almost in my top. Did I put it in there? No, I didn't. But that was almost in my top. I think it's a cool song.
I really like it. I think it's catchy. I love Florence.
I don't think it's necessarily catchy.
Florida.
Yeah, they say one word.
I know. I really like. I really love.
I'm just gonna challenge you on that.
I know. I'm a big Florence and the Machine fan, and I love her voice. Apparently, she wrote her own verse for that song, so that's cool. It's just whenever I saw that there was a track with Florence, I was like, I had expectations. It didn't quite meet my expectations, and I don't necessarily love the bridge. I don't hate it.
I don't remember it, so because I can't remember.
Yeah.
They all are in my head right now.
So I don't hate it, but it's just not one of my favorites. The other one is the Loss of My LOML. I think it's Loss of My Life.
Okay.
It's not one of my. I don't know. It's just kind of got mixed in the jumble of songs, so I don't really have a strong reason for putting that at the bottom. But I thought we were doing bottom 3, so I was scrounging for that third one.
Okay.
But now I feel like none of these really fit in the bottom 3 anymore.
Top 5. We're not doing it in any specific order, right?
No.
I just did in the order that they come through the album.
Okay, cool.
So one of my top 5 is the Tortured Poets Department.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't have much to say about these songs because I came up with this list right before we started. Okay. But I feel like there was some 1989 Red sounds in that, which I really like. I've really grown to like those 2 albums with Taylor, so I like those sounds.
Yeah.
And I think it's like a good song. It lives up to the album name.
Yeah.
That's all.
Great title track.
What was that? Was that in your top 5?
It is in my top 5.
Tell me why.
I really like this song. It's a great title. It's a great title track.
Stop. The computer likes it too.
Yes. I just love the melodies in it. I think the lyrics are really good.
Strong chorus.
Strong chorus. It's just an all around really strong song.
It's just it's gonna be like that. It's consistent.
Yes.
If a song can be consistent.
Also, I realized, and we kind of talked about this earlier, and how you can hear some of the influences from the other albums in this one. There are definitely Taylor Swift isms. Like, there's things that Taylor Swift does.
Did you just create a language?
I don't know.
Swift?
I haven't seen that around, but I'm not claiming to have
Taylor Swift-isms.
But you know what I mean? There's like some things she does that you're like, oh, that's Taylor Swift. That's all.
I don't know what you mean, but I'll think about it when I'm listening next time.
Yeah. Cool.
Is that what you're saying is in this song, though?
Not necessarily this song, but just some songs. Like some of the how she goes into choruses, some of the big choruses, some of the small like nuances.
Her style.
Yeah. Anyway, what's another song?
You go. You give me one.
Okay, so we did Tortured Post Department. I'll save like my more favorite ones for last. Fresh Out the Slammer. Yeah. I like it a lot. I just like whenever she goes like Fresh Out the Slammer, like the choppy vocals I really like.
1989.
Yep. So that's all I really have to say about that. I just think it's pretty good.
That was not in my top.
Okay. How about you?
But that was a good song. My boy only breaks his favorite toys.
That almost made it into my
That
top.
Didn't make it into your top.
You're
You're the one who sings it around the house.
I know.
Maybe that's why I like it, because it was the one that I heard Bryce singing.
And actually, now if I was remaking this list, I would take out Fresh Out the Slammer and put my boy.
So I love the melody of the song. And yeah, melody's big for me.
It does that choppy thing again, too.
I think because I'm a singer,
Yeah.
like melody is important to me. But the O's that she does, which I can't think of the song right now. I can't think of it right now, but because I'm tired. But I love that part, in the chorus.
Dang. Okay, I'm changing my list on the fly, taking out Fresh Out the Slammer and putting that one in.
Okay,
That's really good.
it is a good song.
Okay.
Okay, you want to go or you want me to go?
You go again.
I know you have this in you better have this in your top. But Daddy, I Love Him. Isn't that the title of the song?
I do have that one in my. I love that song. Why do you have it on your list?
Because it's the one that's stuck in my head the most. And not in a way that it's like poppy and stuck in your head, but like whenever I first listened through the album, it stuck with me.
Yeah.
And it's like memorable.
Yeah.
And I also think it has some Speak Now
Definitely
presence in it.
Yeah.
And you know how I feel about that.
Well, it's like she brought some of the Speak Now energy and vibe into the modern age for her at 34 years old. Post Midnights, post 1989, like it's just really good.
Yeah. It feels bright, even though the topics.
Yeah.
Even though the context of that relationship isn't.
Yeah.
Which I think is a cool play.
Yeah. That's a really good one. So my next one is The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived.
That is also on my list. That one I continue to like more and more.
Visceral song. Yeah, it's not like I don't know.
Are you being dramatic?
A little bit. I'm being very dramatic, but it's a great song.
It's a great song.
Yeah, I like what she does with her vocal range, kind of when she goes like deep.
I love the low register. Taylor, do more low register.
She's doing
it's very pretty.
She's doing a lot of different things with her voice in this album, because before there was like this. She's like had the Taylor Swift register that no one could really replicate. It was like weird. It was like right in a register that nobody could really.
It's like for me, it's like in between my head voice and my chest voice. So it's like your mid voice. But if you only sing in that the whole time, it kind of hurts.
Yeah.
Which also probably means I'm not doing it right. But it's just like not the most comfortable place for
But
people.
she's like all over the place in a good way.
Yeah.
On this album. Why is it on your
Dynamics
list?
are good.
Dynamics.
Yeah, so I said the low register, love that. It's really strong and it's really pure almost. It's really pretty. I love a good I love a song that has like a piano lead throughout and then really builds in the bridge. It's like kind of like it's kind of like just like it kind of stays here the whole time. And then it like builds and it's like, maybe that's just the worship leader in me, but because that's kind of what worship songs do. But
I'm blanking, but there is one song on this record that I was like, this could totally like, there's some worship songisms going on.
I really love the bridge and that bridge really makes the rest of the song for me. And now, and now I am like loving the other parts of the song even more, but yeah, that bridge is like really powerful. And I think you need to have that kind of like, you keep it kind of low and then you build
and
it.
the I don't want you back, but I just want to know or something like that's good.
Okay, do you want me to go and then you give your last one?
Yep.
So I did the LOML.
Okay.
Because your girl is a sucker for like a sad song, ballad, slow.
Yes.
I love that.
I think that's just I kind of glossed over it.
Yeah, but see, those songs when I listen to albums actually stick out the most to me because I'm like, I could belt this in my room. Okay, I like this song, you know? So it's like that one for me, I was like, the rest of the songs have a lot going where this one's just kind of like, it is what it is. It's very just here for you. And I like that. I like the simplicity.
I do like that song a lot.
Oh, but it was in your bottom 3, so.
Well, yeah. So was that your 5?
Yep.
You know my number, my I don't know if it's my favorite song on the record, but this is my last of my top 5. Down Bad.
Yes.
Oh, it's I don't know what it is. I just really like that song. It's really poppy.
It is, but it's got some cool. She's playing with some cool things.
It has strong,
production,
like 80s synth, new wave vibes. I just love the vibes, and like
just loves
the chorus is so catchy.
Yeah.
Down bad, crying at the like.
Oh, Bryce is gonna give us a show. Should we cover the song?
Not gonna lie, I was on the elliptical, like jamming out to it. That's it. That's all.
And
is that the note we should end on?
I was sarcastically gonna say I've never been more attracted to you, so but I decided not to, but I still did kind of.
Thanks.
I was being sarcastic.
I know.
Yeah, okay.
I know, I'm well aware.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay though.
Yeah.
Because I told Bryce that I couldn't have Taylor Swift record in our home, but only so I could surprise him with the record. Yeah. Which, anybody answer me this, why is it already on sale?
I don't know. It's weird.
It's weird. But anyways, so that was our Taylor Swift new album review.
Went a lot longer than I thought.
It went a lot longer. We thought it was going to be like 30 minutes, but here we are. Hopefully you can cut some stuff out.
Probably something.
But yeah, we know that a lot of people feel passionate about it, so we thought as people who review media forms, we would get into music maybe. Yeah. Why not?
She's a creative on like the highest level.
So there's that. Make sure you like and subscribe if you're watching us on YouTube. Give us a review if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Follow us on Instagram at the Everyday Creative Pod. You know what we need to do? We want to know what you guys like the most about this podcast. So maybe we'll put up a poll at some point. But if not, just send us a DM. comment.
Yes.
We want to know, what do you want to hear from us?
Do you watch us or
do you watch us? Do you listen to us? Are we going too long? Do you like the long podcast? Let us know. It doesn't mean we'll change it because you said anything, because we just do this for us, but we want to know what you guys think.
Exactly.
Do you like when we do things that are more relevant, like a new movie, a new album? Or do you like when we just have real conversations with each other?
Or a little bit of both.
Or a little bit of both.
Please let us know.
Please let us know.
Let us know if you just listened to, because I spend a lot of time editing the video.
Yeah, maybe we'll just go
if we go straight up audio, like...
Maybe we just go... Yeah, maybe we go audio. If you feel passionate about watching, then please let us know.
Please let us know.
Then we wouldn't have to, like, shower or anything.
Yeah. So thanks for hanging with us for a while.
Go listen to the album and tell us what your favorite song is, and if you'd let your 12-year-old listen.
Unless you are like 12 years old and you're watching this, then get your parents' permission, or don't.
Yeah, talk to your parents.
All right.
And say Bryce and Camaryn are looking out for you.
Yes. Well, see you next week. We're gonna have some movie reviews.
I feel like we don't want to leave. We're like not outroing.
Oh no, we're not. But
yeah, stay tuned for next week. There's a possibility we won't be dropping it on Wednesday, but stay tuned because it'll be a fun event.
We'll see. Usually we try to stick to the Wednesday drops, but
this might be a special occasion.
Yeah. So stay tuned. It'll be fun. Thanks for rocking with us. Stay creative.